Welcome to another episode of Jazz Sports Talk. Welcome to Week 5 of the 2025 NFL season. Sorry, 4 weeks are in the books, and it's quite amazing how some of these teams have kind of transpired. Who has been left undefeated, who has had been winless as well. Teams are just trying to find themselves. It took, I think, Kansas City and Chicago a little bit to finally get back in the rhythm, but it looks like they're going at. The Giants have found their new QB1 with Jaxson Dart. More on that later. Cleveland's made the change to bench Falco and decided to put in the other rookie they drafted, and Shador is still third string. So, I mean, Cleveland does have a lot of confidence in Shador Sanders right now. Yeah, only in Cleveland. And 49ers continue to get bashed up and continue to just lose people as Purdy, Purcell, and Jennings are all ruled out for next week. But before we dive into week number 5, let's scroll back to a quick little review of week number 4. And week number 4 was another very unique season. The European tour of the NFL season kicked off with the game in Dublin. Things kicked off on Thursday night. Classic game between Seattle and Arizona. Pretty much what I expected between these two. Seattle squeaking out the victory by 3. In Dublin, Pittsburgh was a little too much for Minnesota for most of the game. Minnesota tried to make it a game towards the end. They just fell short. Couldn't get the onside kick, and that was it. Washington limped into Atlanta, and Atlanta took advantage. Atlanta's one of these teams, you don't know which team's going to show up. And that's one of the second loss I got already that week. New Orleans kept up with Buffalo in the beginning, and then there was just too much Josh Allen after that. Cleveland, Detroit, not even a contest. Carolina goes up to New England, and New England decides to really play, and Carolina falls flat after a great performance against Atlanta the previous week, and they struggled up in New England to really do anything. Their defense just fell apart, and the Patriots put up 42. Jaxson Dart got the nod to start for the New York Giants as they were playing host to LA Chargers, and the whole team decided to play football for once. They made Dayball look like a genius, and Dart wins his NFL debut against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I picked the Bucs to knock off the Eagles. They tried. I give credit to the Bucs, but couldn't pull it off. Houston shut out Tennessee. I think no problem there. Jacksonville knocked off San Francisco. Got that one right. Pat myself there. One of the few bright spots of last week. I thought Baltimore had Kansas City, but Kansas City offense woke up. Worthy came back. And it was just too much Kansas City. There were just too many weapons for Mahomes to pick from, and Lamar got hurt. Chicago made things interesting in Vegas. The Raiders at one point in time had the lead. The Bears had a late touchdown, failed to get the 2-point conversion. Raiders were moving down the field, set up for a game-winning field goal, and the block party returned as the Bears blocked the game-winning field goal to secure their victory to go 2-2. Down in Dallas on Sunday night, and wow, the Cowboys showed up. No CeeDee Lamb, no problem. George Pickens stepped into the number one receiver slot with no issues whatsoever. Both defenses are terrible. Cuffing up the run, susceptible to short pass plays, screen plays that just, ate up a lot of the yardage. And the game went to OT. In OT, the Packers were the last one that had the ball. They were trying to lose the game on purpose, it seems like. They were ticking, no timeouts left, just dragging their heels, getting to the line. It was like at 16 seconds, 8 seconds, they finally snap it. Wasted 7 seconds before Jordan Love actually, had the ball go incomplete in the back of the end zone. Set up a game, tying field goal at the winning seconds of OT, And we have our first tie of the season, first tie in a little bit as well. So we are going to see how this one transpires. In the double feature on Monday night, the Jets come in. Justin Fields back to play. Tyreek Hill gone for the season. But Miami was able to hold off the Jets and get that win. And then Cincinnati, once again, no answers as their season continues to go down the drain as the Broncos knocked them off. And I went an amazing 8-7-1. Well, it wasn't a losing week. But I just kept losing games left, right, and center. I'm like, well, it's going to be one of those weeks, ain't it? Perhaps like I had in college football in week 4. Now we're going to go to week 5, and let's go ahead and kick things off on Thursday Night Football, where 49ers head down to SoFi, take on the Rams in a huge old-school NFC West showdown between these two rivals. 49ers are limping in. I've mentioned earlier, Purdy, Jennings, and Purcell are all rolled out in this game. I don't see anything that's going to really change the fact that I think it's going to be one lopsided affair. So it's going to hurt the 49ers offense because a lot of weapons on the offense is out. McCaffrey can only do so much, and he's even limited as well. So looking at that, Stafford, once again, having a phenomenal season, over 1,000 yards already with 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. Williams coming in the backfield for over 300 yards and a touchdown. Puka Nacua over 500 yards right now with a touchdown. So this offense is just humming along. The defense has some things got to tweak on. But right now, analytics, Rams at 72%. The line favors LA at 3.5. I'll go with that because the 49ers find ways to win anyways. It's just how that offense is. It's the next man up. They're going to put points on the board. I just don't know how many or how well that defense is going to stop Matthew Stafford, and the rest of the Rams. So definitely going with the Rams to win at home. And then once again, kick things off early on Sunday as the Vikings continue their invasion of the British Isles. Now they have their sights set on London to take on the Cleveland Browns. And, yeah, this one is going to be interesting to kind of see how these guys are going to react to the change at quarterback. Because Flacco has been very inconsistent, 6 interceptions. I mean, you can't win games when you continue to give the other team the football. Makes it difficult to win the game. But to turn into a rookie that may not be, the best option for the Browns. And it could, if you looked at the preseason reps these quarterbacks got, and a lot of people were kind of going that there's no way that this kid that is going to get this nod, and Dylan Gabriel, he was just terrible at the job. Especially in the preseason, but they don't seem to have a lot of faith in Shedeur Sanders either because he's still listed as a third stringer. So he's still sitting behind Flacco and Gabriel. But I expect Carson Wentz to have a decent game against Cleveland. So far he's 4 TDs, 2 interceptions, so he's a 2-for-1 ratio. He's got to clean up the interception aspect. But as long as you get to Jefferson, it's going to be good to go. As long as Mason can come out of the backfield as well, to really help out. That defense needs to step up and clamp down on Cleveland. I'm sure they can do that because right now analytics favor the Vikings at 63%. The line also gives to the Vikings at 3.5. Back the Browns in London. Now we're back to a regular scheduled program. And we head over to Indianapolis as the Raiders come to town and take on the Colts. The Colts right now 3-1. Had that great game against the Rams. Fell short. But Daniel Jones right now over 1,000 yards in the air. 4 TDs, 2 picks. Taylor coming out of the backfield is their highlight. Genty had a great game in Chicago last week. He actually, showed up. He's been kind of under the radar a lot this season. But having a 100-yard output against the Bears really kind of help out. So I can kind of see Geno Smith and Genty finally, getting some game plan going together to get these guys going. But all depends. Having Brock Bowers questionable is definitely going to hurt him. Even Michael Mayer could also be out as well. So losing some tight ends definitely will limit the passing options for Geno. But, find out what Pete Carroll could, pull out of his bag of tricks. But right now the Colts are favored 64% analytically. They also have a 6.5-point advantage in Vegas. I see no issues with this one either. I'm also going with Indy to outpace the Raiders. Now I head to the Big Easy. When the winless Saints, we get Jaxson Dart and the New York Giants. Now, Dart had a very good showing in his rookie debut. I can still see him going. Rattler has been doing extremely well. I mean, he hasn't really lit up with the yards. He only has 765. He has 5 TDs, but only 1 pick. So he's making some decent decision-making in terms of getting that ball out there. Alvin Kamara, not really giving him much to work with. Having some guys on the defense kind of out and questionable, and IR really kind of hurts that Saints. And right now it's kind of a coin toss between the two, because if you look at the analytics, it's 54% for the Saints, but Vegas gives the Giants 2.5. Now I'll give credit to the Jaxson Dart and whatnot, but I think that great win they had against the Chargers, I think that's going away. I think the Saints going to find a way to get a W. Like I said, Rattler's doing decent. I mean, he's not blowing anyone out of the water. He's decent. I think him and Dart will have a good quarterback duo between the two very young quarterbacks that should be around the league for a while. But I think the Saints, question myself, but I think the Saints going to squeak past the Giants at home. Now I head over to New York for the other winless team as the Jets come crashing in out of their failed trip in Miami. Take on the Dallas Cowboys, who found ways to make tying interesting. Dak had a decent game last week. Overall, over 1,000 yards in the air, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Definitely got to clean that aspect up. Williams coming out of the backfield, 4 TDs and 300 yards plus. George Pickens already had 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. So definitely has some things to kind of to look at. Still have a lot of question marks on both sides of the line, especially that O-line. And if Garrett Wilson Bryce Hall can actually get going on the ground for the Jets, that's going to spell doom for the Cowboys. But he only has over 200 yards. And if Justin Fields can make some good decisions so far this season, he's missed half the season already. 471 yards with 2 touchdowns. So he definitely can do that. He can also come out of the backfield as well. So that's a dual threat the Cowboys defense have to worry about. And it's going to find very difficult to counter. Right now, analytics favor the Cowboys at 58%. Vegas give them a 1.5-point advantage. I see it very close as well. I'm surprised if the Jets actually pull this one off. Be the only New York team to knock off the Cowboys. The Giants tried to do that earlier this season and failed in OT. But I think the Cowboys should be able to slip past the Jets. But it should be a very interesting game. Then we're to Philadelphia with undefeated Eagles to take on the 2-2 Broncos. Broncos had a really good showing against the hapless Bengals. Bo Nix definitely got to clean up some interceptions. Over 800 yards in the air, 7 TDs and 4 picks, almost a 2-for-1 ratio on that aspect. Jalen Hurts, over 600 yards in the air, 5 touchdowns. So the Philadelphia is being a very balanced offense, so they don't have to be flashed in the air unless they want to be. You don't have to be flashing the ground unless they want to be. J.K. Dobbins for the Broncos, count the backfield over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, while Barkley over 230 with 3 touchdowns. Definitely have to see, Sutton or Devontae Smith be the primary receivers for their respective teams. And right now, analytics favor Philadelphia at 61%. They also give them the 5.5 point spread. I think I'll pump on those points. Philly doesn't really blow anyone out, it seems like, so I will probably take Denver for the points. I just think it could be like that. I think this is how the Phillies season is going to go. As they're going to have a lot of close matches, not really blow anyone out of the water. They're going to make things interesting. And so far, looking at the season as it progresses, they're finding ways to be on top of those close games. And I don't see any difference here. I do think Philadelphia should squeak out with like a 3-point victory. Next time, head to Charlotte, where the 1-3 Panthers play host to the 1-3 Miami Dolphins. See if Tua Tagovailoa can find ways to get this team going and try and use other players besides, Tyreek Hill, because he is gone for the season. I guess we have to go to Waddle. Maybe Kane can actually be a little bit more productive. He's shy of 250 yards rushing with a touchdown. Bryce Young, very inconsistent. I mean, they had that great game against Arizona, even though they lost. That great game against Atlanta, and then it just fell apart against New England. But having questions as well all over the field for the Panthers could definitely spell a trouble as well. But someone's going to get their second one this season. Miami looked pretty good. Analytical-wise, it favors Carolina at 51%, but Vegas favors Miami at 1.5. Just pick your poison with this one. I don't know. This season seems to be kind of inconsistent for these two. I don't know. I think I want to see Charlotte, Carolina actually win one again at home. You go 2-0 at home, defending the Den, and I'll give it to the Panthers. Squeak one out. Then we head to Baltimore, where the Ravens will play host to the Texans, and both teams are 1-3. Let that sink in. Two teams I think everyone picked to probably be maybe the AFC representative of the Super Bowl, or at least one in their division, are both 1-3 at this present point in time in the season. No, it's still early. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. But Baltimore definitely has some issues right now. Lamar Jackson is doubtful. It's going to be a huge flag there. Cooper Rush is the backup, and we know how definitely good he is. There's definitely problems on that defense. A lot of players right now are doubtful or injured, and that spells doom against a team like Houston. But Houston also has their woes with Nico Collins being questionable. So how good can that offense be? But C.J. Stroud, over 800 yards, 4 touchdowns with 3 picks. He's definitely throwing a lot more interception this year. Chubb, not being a huge factor coming out of the backfield. Definitely got to worry about that one. But Derrick Henry's been a reliable part of that Baltimore's offense, as he has 3 fumbles. That's cost, and 2 of them have cost them the game. Last week, you didn't have any, which was a good sign. They went back to, making sure they were working on that. But these two need to win bad to keep pace with their division leaders. The division leaders are 3-1 with the Colts and Steelers, respectively. So someone's got to find a way. But right now, analytics favor Baltimore at 56%. They also give Baltimore a 3.5 point advantage. I don't see it. With the question marks right now with that Baltimore team, especially with Lamar, Derrick Henry not being quite the bruiser himself, the holes to keep finding on that defense everywhere you look, there's someone that's going to be out or it's questionable or doubtful. These are things that kind of take into account with this team, and Houston's just one of these teams that they got to find themselves as well, and something's got to give for one of them. And right now, Baltimore is looking like a hot mess, but I just don't see it this game. I think Houston's going in there and just squeak out with the victory, but there's definitely something brewing over there in Baltimore. Next time out to the desert when the winless Titans come to town, take on the Cardinals, and I don't know what to say about the Titans. It's just they're the Titans. Something's just not working well. Cam Ward is not living up to the hype right now for NFL standards. A lot of issues. Part of issues with the offensive line because he did not really have a lot of time. With 600 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's about a 50% passer. Kyler Murray, 700 yards plus, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Problems with the running back for the Cardinals will kind of help the Tennessee offense, but beyond that, I don't see nothing else. Analytics favor Arizona at 73%. Vegas pushed the line at 7.5. I see no issues with that. I'm definitely going Cardinals to win that and to go 3-2 in the season. Tampa Bay now head up to Puget Sound, take on the Seattle Seahawks. And right now Baker's going to be questionable coming in. Irving's questionable coming in for the Bucs. So there's a lot of question marks right now on that injury side. I think definitely worse being offensive tackle, Devontae David, Jamal Dean, Hassan Reddick, Benjamin Morrison. I mean, these guys are limping into the Pacific Northwest, and Sam Darnold should have a better time finding ways. He has 900 yards in the air, 5 TDs but 2 picks. Walker over 240 yards on the ground with 3 touchdowns. So definitely got to find ways to get there. But Seattle's got their issues on the defense as well. And both the teams are actually doing halfway decent on the season. I mean, both of them are 3-1. Both of them are part of that division lead. Seattle's tied right now with 49ers, sitting on top of the NFC West. 49ers having that edge, so technically they're second. But right now, analytics favor Seattle at 54%. The line is at Seattle at 2.5. With Tampa Bay limping in there, I don't see much going in there, but I will pick Seattle to win at home. Now head to the concrete jungle of Cincinnati as the Bengals play host to the Lions. Bengals and Lions, oh my. And the Browning Bengals are just continuing to suffer, taking on the juggernaut that is Detroit Lions right now. They found their voice. They are playing extremely well. I mean, after they thumped Chicago, that's it. That's what they needed. That was the spark that lit them up. Now, the defense will probably cough up points. But Cincinnati's the offense is doesn't really score a lot. So I don't know how much Jamar Chase can really play a factor in this game. Right now, analytics favor Detroit 77%. The Lions at the advantage. The Vegas line at 8.5. I really see no issue in this one either. I think the Lions are going down to the concrete jungle and be able to tame them some Bengals. Now the Commanders head out to SoFi to take on the Chargers. And the Chargers limping in there after losing in New York, so they got to get right back on that. Jason Daniel was not available for the game in Atlanta. That's one of the reasons why they lost. Looks like he's back ready to go. So definitely these two teams are going to be squaring off to find out who's going to be there. But having Debo being questionable for the Commanders could hurt that offense. Right now, analytics favor the Chargers at 58%. The point spread right now is also in favor of the Chargers at 2.5. I like both these odds. I think the Chargers will come away with the victory and to continue to surprised the AFC West with their lead in the division. Then Sunday night, off to Western New York for a classic AFC East clash between the Patriots and the Bills. The Bills being undefeated to play host to divisional rival. Drake May and the Patriots had a great game last week against Carolina, but this is Buffalo. Josh Allen's going to find ways. Cook's going to find ways. Their defense is going to find ways to, make things interesting, but they always seem to always close the door. Patriots have been pretty inconsistent with their game plans. I mean, kind of struggle against the Raiders and then, outperform the Dolphins, and struggle against the Steelers, outperform the Panthers. So, are they going to underperform again? Who knows? But the Patriots should put up some points with it being like I said, AFC East rival game. These guys know each other since 1960, when the birth of the AFL. So I do expect the Patriots to make it interesting. Right now, analytics favor the Bills at 67%, but they give them an 8.5-point spread. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be like the Saints game. They're probably going to make it interesting in the beginning of the game, and the Bills should just pull it through. It's probably what's going to be. That's part of what's going to end up happening is, the Bills just toy them along and then finally step on them. But, yeah, Bills. Then Monday night, the Chiefs head down to Jacksonville, take on a surprise 3-1 Jaguars. Jaguars had a huge win against the 49ers. I called that game, so I don't think it was much of a huge win. The Chiefs have found ways to let out the offense now. You got Hollywood Brown stepping up, Juju Smith-Schuster, James Worthy's back. So definitely some ways for that Chiefs offense to really find different receivers, and that's the hard thing. Mahomes is back to being creative in the backfield. He's finding different receivers, so it makes defenses harder to pinpoint who to go after. Because Kelsey's not really his number one choice in key third down plays or key plays. So who you pick? Trevor Lawrence has had a decent season so far. I mean, 845 yards in the air compared to Mahomes' 900 plus. But 5 TDs, 4 picks, and that's the problem with Trevor Lawrence, is trying to find those picks. But with Entne Jr. being a dominant force coming out of the backfield, that Chiefs defense has to get in there, has to find ways to disrupt Entne to make sure he is not a factor in this game. I do expect the Jaguars to make this close. Most of the Chiefs games have been close. Right now, analytics favor KC at 63%. They also have a 2.5 line advantage right now. I actually kind of like that because I think it will be a close game between these two on Monday night. So it should be a really good one. And if you think it's a little short, you're right because 4 teams will be sitting this week out with Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, and Pittsburgh. Sitting at home, watching these guys go at it, taking notes, watching game films. And see how they transpire when they come back off a break. So, there you go. Short week this week. Interesting matchups. Like I said, we still got that game out in London. See how the Minnesota can rebound and, the Vikings can, sack London. They could sack Dublin. 49ers limping into Thursday night. See if Jaxson Dart could go 2-0 as a starter. See if Gabriel could go 1-0 as a starter. So definitely some interesting storylines coming out there. But those are my picks. Let me know what you think. You think most of my picks are extremely wrong. I pretty much stayed with the favorites in pretty much all of these games, I think, except for one. Or 2. Actually, 2 games, I think I bucked the trend. So, let's see how that one plans out. How's your team doing so far this season? Are they still finding themselves? Or they've got already question marks because injury bugs have been pretty rampant so far this season. Let's mix up comments below. The more we mix it up, the better it boosts the YouTube algorithm. The YouTube algorithm we must pay homage to ensure our frontal cortexes are loaded with all the lovely videos we want to see to make us happy in this very strange time indeed. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. I really appreciate it. If you like what I do and want to support this channel, there's a great way to do it. It's absolutely free, which is absolutely needed in this economy right now. You just hit that subscribe button. Click that bell icon. Turn notifications so the next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.